Hi, I'm Chris for RightSizeLife.com. One of the most delightful things to add to any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, is a biscuit. And by biscuits, we mean the old-fashioned baking powder buttermilk biscuit, not canned or frozen imitations. But the problem is how to make a biscuit at home that is light and tasty, and more importantly, how to make just a few biscuits at a time. So let's go to the kitchen and make biscuits for two. Now, even if you are in the I don't bake category of cooking, learning how to make biscuits is less about baking and more about culinary skill set. They go with almost anything, and once you see it done, they are truly easy. Plus, if you really want to impress a friend or a spouse, learn how to whip up a small batch of biscuits. It takes practically no time, and the rewards are well worth the learning curve. Most people still think of biscuits as the purview of Southern cooks and restaurants. Or if you haven't been privileged to taste real biscuits, you think the biscuits only come from a frozen bag or a refrigerated can. These are at best weak substitutes. Likewise, they tend to be packaged too large for our size household. Like most things that need to be scaled down to right size, learning a scratch alternative is our best option. Now, as always, let's talk ingredients. Buttermilk is the key to a good biscuit. The problem is you only need half a cup. Buttermilk usually comes in pint or larger containers. Not to worry. Buttermilk freezes incredibly well. Just get a couple of 1-cup plastic containers, freeze the buttermilk that you don't use in half-cup servings. When you think you want to make biscuits, just thaw one of the half cups. And don't forget that other things use buttermilk as well, like pancakes. Having a little buttermilk frozen is actually a good thing. Now, a word of caution. You can use powdered buttermilk. It's not as good as regular buttermilk, but it will do in a pinch. Just make sure you follow the recipe when adding the powder to the water and get the made-up buttermilk as cold as possible. The same is true for the butter, by the way. It should come right out of the refrigerator before being cut up into the flour mix. The ingredients for biscuits are very simple. It's just 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of very cold butter, 1 tablespoon of shortening, and 1/2 cup of very cold buttermilk. Making biscuits is really very easy. Start with your dry ingredients, put them all in a bowl. Once you get all the dry ingredients in, you're going to take the 2 fats, the very cold butter, along with the shortening, and you're going to start to work the 2 fats into the flour. Most recipes say that you're going to work it until it feels like cornmeal. I think the most important part is to not work it too much. Just get the fats incorporated into the flour. You may even see little bits of butter. That's okay. Once you have your dry mixture ready, go ahead and pour your cold buttermilk into the flour mixture, and then start to work the buttermilk into the flour mixture. Try not to overwork it. Just work gently until it just starts to come together as a dough. When the dough forms a ball, take it out of your bowl, put it onto your cutting board, add a little flour to your cutting board, and you want to knead this dough no more than 5 times, just enough to make it smooth. Once it's nice and smooth, pat it out to about 1/2 inch thick. Take a 2-inch cutter and cut your first 3 biscuits. Take the remaining dough, pat it out again till about 1/2 inch thick, and cut your last 2 biscuits. Once your biscuits are cut, place them sides touching on a baking pan and bake them at 450 degrees for 14 to 20 minutes. Bake time will all depend on your oven. When they're finished, they'll look like this, and they'll be ready to serve. Soups, Salad night, stews, barbecue, with sausage gravy, or just plain butter and honey. Biscuits are wonderful. Making them in our kitchen is about as comforting and homey as we can get. So try making some biscuits for a meal soon and discover how easy this rewarding and simple bread can be. That is all for this video demo. You can find a written version of this demo along with other lifestyle and cooking tips at RightSizeLife.com. RightSizeLife.com is an online community dedicated to those living solo or in pairs. RightSizeLife.com. Big living on a small scale.